The Montreal Canadiens lost 4 straight games going into the hockey game tonight. 2 of those games were versus the Los Angeles Kings, a 5-1 loss on home ice, and versus the Stars, a 7-0 loss on home ice. The Canadiens vowed revenge. They were taking on for the first time since they were eliminated by the Washington Capitals, Ovechkin, Wilson, and company, the Capitals. Oh, you know what? We have a long memory. We want this game. We'll be ready. We have something to prove. This, that, whatever, all that stuff. It wasn't meant to be. The Montreal Canadiens lacked structure. They lacked discipline. They lacked goaltending. They lacked defense. They lacked grit. They lacked unity. They lacked everything. Samuel Montembeault gives up a first goal on a first shot that he faces again. That was a sign that it was not going to be his night, and it was not going to be the Montreal Canadiens' night. Montembeault was pulled after he gave up 3 goals on just 10 shots. Jakub Dobeš comes in. How was his night of work? He faced 24 shots. He gave up 4 goals plus an empty netter. The Canadiens lose by a score of 8-4 to a Washington Capitals team who played last night and got into Montreal late last night, early this morning. Oh, yeah, and by the way, 3 goals and 1 assist for 40-year-old Alexander Ovechkin. And to make matters worse, Jake Evans was knocked out of the game. And who did something for the Canadiens to respond? Nobody. We'll talk about it. Pierre McGuire will join me. So will Brian Wilde. It's your Has Post-Game Show. It's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro. I don't think anybody's happy tonight.
It's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K,
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to LaFleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the fall!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Canadiens lose by a score of 8-4. Disaster. A disaster tonight at the Bell Center. There's no other way to put it. Samuel Montembeault and Jakub Dobeš are not the only problems the Montreal Canadiens have. But let's put the cards on the table here. It can't continue like this. It just cannot. I mean, they can't stop anything right now. Their numbers are just absolutely, absolutely terrible. They're nervous from the start of the game, nervous to the end of the game, and there's a team in front of them that's really, really nervous because they see two goalies that are really, really nervous, and they get really, really nervous, and everyone plays really, really nervous, and then the structure is just out the window. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, a leading asset-light 3PL that's driven to be different from cross-border freight between Canada, USA, and Mexico to coast-to-coast shipping in both Canada and the United States. Energy moves it all. Fast, reliable, and powered by tech that delivers smarter logistics. You need a real partner in transportation? Contact the team at sick@shipenergy.com and see how Energy Transportation Group is changing the freight game. I hope you're going to stick around for this, the Habs post-game show in English, and I hope that if you haven't watched already, you'll start watching my show, Le Sick Podcast, en français, du lundi au vendredi à 10h le matin. Demain, mes collaborateurs vont être Anthony Martineau, Éric Bélanger, Arnaud Gascon-Nadon, Éric Oziel et oui, il va y avoir une entrevue avec Jacob Fowler will be on the Sick Podcast tomorrow morning. The show will start at 10 a.m. It's on the same YouTube channel, and I hope that you will be able to watch that. 15 years of history, one legendary celebration from world champions to record-breaking jackpots. Playground has always been where poker history unfolds. Now they're making the milestone with the 15-year anniversary series, December 4th to 16th, featuring 15 trophy events and $850,000 guaranteed. Take your shot in the $1,150 main event with $400,000 guaranteed, or go bounty hunting in the 300 mystery bounty with $150,000 guaranteed. Playground, 15 years of champions, and they're just getting started. We'll get to some of our other sponsors a little bit later on in the program. We thank them very much for their support, but let's get to Pierre McGuire because I know that he can't wait.
The McGuire Report. Presented by Vago Italian.
Oh, yeah, Vago open 23 years, longevity. Not many restaurants open that long. Private dining rooms for any occasions, birthdays, engagements, corporate meetings. Plenty of free parking after 6. Open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch Tuesday to Friday. Fresh quality ingredients, old world Italian classics, and new Italian. Come see Tommaso, the most popular man in Westmount, at the front of the house. His partner Angelo at the back of the house. Pierre McGuire, this is one that you want to throw the tape away, or you want to watch it first and then throw it away? Talk to me, Pierre.
Throw the tape away on this one. It started with the Jake Evans face-off, lost clean. I know he's a right-hand shot on the left-hand side of the ice. He loses it clean. Ovechkin takes a shot right off the face-off. The puck's to the back of the net. The simple little things. I know Joe Veleno scored tonight. Joe Veleno had a huge turnover in the game. Sonny Milano ends up scoring off of it because of a quick counter. I can go down the line. The undisciplined play with the high sticks, not good at all. Shoddy penalty killing. The Washington Capitals were 2 for 4 on a power play. There's a lot there. But, Tony, you nailed it. You nailed it big time. If you can't get saves, you can't win games. I would have Eric Raymond, the goalie coach of the Montreal Canadiens, on speed dial if I were Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon. And I'd say, why do our goalies keep losing their net? Over the last 6 or 7 games, all I see are goalies sliding out of position all the time. How come they're not anchored? How come they're not more disciplined? How come they're not reading the plays properly? And enough with This guy's a good de chez nous, and he needs to start, and the other guy doesn't matter. Once they started that, it was over. It was over.
How do you get it back?
Jacob freaking Fowler. You're having him on your show tomorrow. Don't do it any other way except say, do you think you're ready to play in the NHL? Because these two guys can't do it right now.
You'd bring him up right away?
I would, because you got to send a message. Something's going wrong here, Tony. I've been around too long. Something's wrong. I don't know if they're not listening as a team. I don't know if the goalies aren't listening. Something is not right here.
I wouldn't bring him up. And I'm going to tell you why I wouldn't bring him up. Because all I'm seeing right now, and maybe it's a byproduct of the goalie struggling with their confidence that the team is playing that way. Pierre, I didn't see a team play with structure tonight. You talked about the turnovers. You know what I saw tonight? I saw a bunch of individuals on Bell Center Ice play the game tonight as if they were playing a game of pond hockey on Beaver Lake or as if they were playing in a garage league. That doesn't cut it in the National Hockey League.
Very fair. Totally agree with that. But I'll tell you when all this stuff started. It started a while ago. I don't know why they're changing their lines. The spin control, I heard it. I heard it all over TV tonight. They want to see Slafkovsky drive a line. Why does he have to drive a line? Let him go play on his line. Why is that a factor?
You know which sector of the media wants Slafkovsky on the second line and wants Bolduc on the first line? Come on, don't let me spell it out for you. You're a smart guy.
I
know
am,
that.
but this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Can we stop the nonsense? We don't need spin. Here's the one thing. Toe Blake didn't have spin control when he changed his lines. Scotty Bowman didn't have spin control when he's changed his lines. Al McNeil in 1971 didn't have spin control when he changed his lines. Trust me. Henri Richard called him an American Hockey League coach, and they still won the Stanley Cup. They didn't worry about the spin control. This has to stop.
I'm not going to tell you that Marty St. Louis listens to media, but what I am going to tell you is I think when he decided to go with Montembeault on that Saturday night versus the Ottawa Senators when Jacob Dolgovich was really, really, really hot, I think part of his decision went into he wanted everyone to stop talking about the goalie controversy and this and that. And he came out, he named Montembeault as his starter 2 days before the game, looked at the media and said, yes, it's Montembeault. And can we stop talking about this goalie controversy? Not in so many words, but that's exactly what he said. And when he said that, I said, wow, he's listening to what everyone's saying. And he wants everyone to stop talking like that. He shouldn't listen to what they're saying. He shouldn't care about what they're saying. He should go with his gut. And the gut is to ride the winning goalie. Now, having said all of that, Pierre, if Jakob Dolbish has been messed up because they sat him for a couple of games and he went from hot to cold, I'm sorry, that doesn't say a lot to me either, Pierre.
Do you remember what I said to you when he had the meltdown in the dressing room in New Jersey?
You told me there's something behind it. You said this is not typical of a goalie losing a game in game 13 or 14 or whatever it was in the regular season. There has to be more than meets the eye.
I've never seen that before. Not in a regular season game, not with an NHL pro. No chance. Have you?
No.
So I told you that.
I haven't worked in hockey besides being a member of the media. You have. And I'm going to tell you this. Stefan Waite, who's been a longtime goalie coach in the National Hockey League.
Elite goalie coach.
Who coached goalies and were part of teams that won Stanley Cups.
Wins a Stanley Cup with Corey Crawford. I'm just telling you, elite goalie coach.
I think he even won a Stanley Cup with Antiniemi, if memory serves me well.
Absolutely did in 2010.
And he coached Carey Price for quite some time. Stefan Waite said to me that wasn't normal to him. He has never seen that.
I'm telling you, in 37 years, around some really good players and covering the biggest games and coaching in a lot of the biggest games, never seen that.
Okay.
Never.
You know what I'm starting to think? And I've been starting to think it for about a week. And I've said it on a couple of occasions that I kind of said it like, can it be? Is it possible? I'm starting to think the pressures of playing in Montreal and the expectations that are there this year, because last year there was not expectations. It's a team that had finished 5th last in the National Hockey League. The year before that, not too many people expected them to make the playoffs. The people that predicted that they would make the playoffs are probably just predicted them to make the playoffs. So if they made the playoffs, they could say, you see, I was one of the only ones to say that they would make the playoffs. After they made the playoffs last year in the offseason, the Canadiens go out, they make a move, they acquire Zachary Bolduc, they make a move, they acquire Noah Dobson. The young core has one more year experience under their belts. The coaching staff has one more year experience. You're going to have Demi Doff for a full season instead of just the last 2 regular season games. The Canadiens were expected to be much better. Then all of a sudden they get off to a great start. Everyone starts talking about dynasty, Stanley Cup, this, that, whatever. Myself included, not Stanley Cup this year, but down the line, they probably start, and then all of a sudden, a little bit of adversity, and then an injury here and a loss there, and now there's pressure, and now there's expectations. And I'm starting to think, Pierre, actually I started thinking it last week, that maybe the pressures of winning right now and the expectations are too much for both Montembeault and Dobesh.
It could be. I think this thing started falling apart when Caden Gooley got hurt. And I said it to you that night. I said, this is a significant injury. If he's out for a long period of time. And we talked about it the other day. I don't know what took so long for this to be diagnosed the way it's been diagnosed. But this took a while before all of a sudden, he's going to need surgery. I don't know why that took so long.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering when Kirby Dach fractured his foot. Because a couple of games before, he had blocked a shot versus, I don't remember if it was, I think it was versus Dallas. Anyway, but I hear you. There's just a lot of things that don't make sense right now, Pierre, with this team whose standards have been very, very high over the last couple of years. Pierre, listen, you serve the role of a general manager. You know what it is, and you know when you can make deals, and you know when you can. And I'm not going to tell you that it's easy to make deals right now, because nobody is. But you know what a big sector of the fan base is saying right now? They're saying, is this guy going to do anything? Like this team they're bleeding, Pierre. They're bleeding. Yeah, and if the doctor doesn't come in and save them pretty soon, they're going to die.
So here's what they've done recently. Joshua Roy has been called up for the second time this season.
Yes.
I don't think he's earned another call up. Do you?
No.
Okay. So you have an opportunity to make a move there. Jared Davidson, on the other hand, I think has merited his ice time. Do you?
He gives you everything he has. He can't give you more than what he's giving you. Unfortunately, his lack of pace does him in, and he can't get more than 10 minutes a game.
But he's going to give you energy, and he's going to give you some physicality. He's going to give you things you kind of need right now with a team that's a little smaller. The telltale thing to me tonight, besides the goaltending, the little mistakes, the turnovers, Washington's bigger, stronger, and meaner than Montreal.
Okay, speaking of which, do you know what the Canadians?
Don't get me going, because I think I know where you're going. But go ahead.
So the Canadiens have played. Okay, let's take the 32 teams in the National Hockey League and let's split them up in 2 sections: top 1 to 16, 17 to 32. In terms of the heaviest teams in the National Hockey League, out of the top 16, do you know how many the Canadiens have played thus far?
Probably 8 or 9.
They've played 12.
Okay.
You know what their record is versus teams heavier than them? Of those 12
they probably
teams,
don't have any wins.
They got 3 wins and 9 losses. Let me bring it up for you. Boston, the heaviest, lost. Toronto, number 2, lost. Los Angeles, number 3, lost. Dallas, number 4, lost. The Rangers, number 5, lost. Ottawa, 6, win in overtime, I think.
Turnover by Drake Batherson. That's what
Correct.
got the win. New Hook goal.
Columbus, mind you, it was in a shootout, but 9 loss. Buffalo, 12 win. Detroit, 13 win. 14 Edmonton, 15 Jersey, 16 Washington. Loss. I brought this up before, and everyone says to me, I don't buy it. And that's okay. And I respect that, because there's some results that could have gone the other way. Some people say, well, Boston was a 1-goal game. Well, Toronto, the Canadiens played better than them. Well, I understand all of that. But is this chart a coincidence for you?
Oh, I think it says a lot based on what you watched tonight and what you watched in the playoffs. And I'm going to say this, and I am not a proponent of barbarianism or goonism in hockey. I'm not.
Say it, Pierre. Say it.
When you see what happened to Jake Evans from Tommy Wilson and there's zero. And that didn't happen like at the end of the game. That happened in the middle of the game, and it led to a goal. Not one person touched Tom Wilson the rest of the game. I watched Josh Anderson beat him up last year.
Okay. So now I'm going to say this. And Jack Guy's not alone because Josh Anderson's on this team. Jaden Strubal's on this team. And by the way, where's that whole thing that we heard about Wolfpack mentality sticking together? I didn't see it tonight. But I'm going to say this. Going to say this. For all the fans who in the last year were saying, if you put Jack Guy in the lineup, you're not going to get pushed around anymore. I don't think it works like that in the National Hockey League anymore. I really don't. I think that if you want to hurt somebody, you're going to hurt somebody and you'll deal with it later. At least that's the way Tom Wilson deals with things. If he wants to hurt somebody, he wants to hit somebody. Tom Wilson last year hit everything in sight, and so did the Washington Capitals in the first 2 games in the playoffs. Canadians lost both games. The fan base was screaming that they had to get Jack Guy in there, that Jack Guy would be the savior, and Tom Wilson wouldn't do this anymore. So they get Jack Guy in there. And to his credit, he plays a good game in Game 3, and the Canadians are on a high, and they got all that stuff, and they had a big game, and they won. Game 4, again with Jack Guy in the lineup, the Canadians lost the most important game of the series because they could have tied it at 2 on home ice. And in that game, the 2 most devastating hits of the series, one was Ovechkin on, I think, Evans, and the other one was Tom Wilson on Alex Carrier. And that happened with all the big guys in the lineup. And tonight, with all the big guys in the lineup, Tom Wilson did it again. And you know what? My question is, where's the damn pride? Where's the pride? They spent all day at the last end. We didn't forget. It's a revenge game for us. This means a lot. The Washington Capitals played last night. They traveled. They got into Montreal early this morning. Tom Wilson last night played 22 minutes and 44 seconds. Protest 20:43. Strome 17:15. 40-year-old Alex Ovechkin played 16:49. 5 defensemen played 20 minutes or more. The Washington Capitals dressed their backup goaltender tonight. The Canadians gave up 8 goals. 8. Is this a joke?
No, but they're now in a serious position where they do have to adjust as a management team and a coaching staff. And they can say whatever they want, burn the tape, this is a one-off. No, it's not. You talked about it before I came on. I listened to you very closely. What was the score against the LA Kings? What was it? I know what the scores are, but I'm asking the question. It's a redundant question. What was the score against LA? What was the score against Dallas?
Yeah, 5-1 and 7-0.
Go look. What about those games? Do they not count too?
But you know what it has me thinking about? It has me thinking about losing 6-3 on home ice in like the 4th game of the season last year versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. It has me thinking about that December 9th or 12th game or whatever it was, losing 9-3 on home ice to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It has me thinking about losing 7-2 on home ice to the New York Rangers. It has me thinking about losing 8-2 on home ice to the Seattle Kraken 1 week after you lost 7-2 to the Rangers. Pierre, that was 1 year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. Like, it's supposed to get better. Why is this thing falling apart? It looks like, Pierre, they're not playing with any structure.
No, they're not. You know, Suzuki got hurt after he wins a faceoff. Think about it. I think it was against Philly, or maybe it was against Nashville. I forget now.
It was against Philly. It was a Travis Konechny one-timer.
Yeah. So they won that draw. This is to your point about structure. They won that draw. He got hurt. He hadn't been the same since either. And I know he scored tonight. I get it. Wasn't using his feet to score tonight. I don't know. Something's not right here. There are too many fundamental flaws. They have to really do a deep dive into what's gone wrong here, because something's gone wrong. Just telling you. It's too apparent. It's way too apparent.
Okay, so you talked about Eric Raymond, the goalie coach.
Yep.
You said they should have Eric Raymond on speed dial. And they should call him and say, why are both Montembeault and Dobesh losing the net? Why are they losing the net? So you play Kent Hughes, I'll be Eric Raymond. There's no way that I'm going to say, well, it's the way I'm teaching them. There's no way, so be prepared for that. Now, you be Kent Hughes, I'll be Eric Raymond. Call me and ask me the question.
Eric, I'd like to know why our goalies that are both bigger people look so small in goal.
You know, Kent, I'm asking myself the same thing. It's obviously not what I'm teaching them, but look at them. Look at the body language. They have a lot. They've lost their confidence right now. I don't know what they're going to do to get it back.
Well, as a goalie coach, I'd want to know, how are you going to teach them to be more anchored? What are you going to do in practice to make them better?
That's the response. Okay, I got it. I don't know, but Pierre, that's what I think. Like no one right now in the city, right? No one. And I brought it up last week, and I said, I want to know what Eric Raymond is doing with the goalies. Now, I don't know Eric Raymond. I don't know the work that he's doing with the goalies. I do know the work that's happening right now in Laval with Marco Marciano. Their goalies are great, and they don't lose their net. They don't. And one great one's going to join me for a chat tomorrow. His name is Jacob Fowler. He doesn't lose his net.
I've been watching him a long time.
But, I mean, is it like, I understand, like, he's the same goalie coach that coached Montembeault last year, Pierre, in a very good season. Mm-hmm. And he's the same goalie coach that coached Dobesh to a 6-0 start. So, is it on him considering that?
Well, I'm not blaming him. I want to know what's going on in his eyes.
Yeah.
That's the question that I posed before. That's why I'd have him on speed dial. I want to know, what are you seeing? Why do these big people look so small in goal? Why do they continually lose their net? Why are we getting beat with guys coming straight down Broadway? How come our guys can't fight through traffic? Why is the rebound control so shoddy? Like, there's a lot of things. It's not just one or two. There are a lot of things that are wrong with both these goalies right now.
So I'll tell you another thing that I've been asking myself, all right? In the offseason, and Brian Wilde is standing by at the Bell Center, and he's going to join us at some point, all right? In the offseason, Pierre, let me just pull up the Sharpie here, okay? This is what the fan base wanted on this team. Okay? Second line center, all right? I don't know if you can see that.
I got it.
All right. And then in an ideal world, they were going to put that center with Demidov, and they wanted a winger to play with that centerman. So they go out and they acquire Dobson, and they go out and they acquire Bolduc. But in an ideal world, a lot of people were seeing Bolduc on the third line. So you still need a second line center, and you still need a second line winger to play with Demidov, because if you don't get that second line winger to play with Demidov, chances are it's going to be Patrick Laine. And a lot of the fan base didn't have that much confidence. All right, they didn't get the second line. It's going to be Laine. So then Laine goes out with the injury. Newhook goes out with the injury. Doc goes out with the injury. And if those three players play their best hockey, they could theoretically be a second line for the Montreal Canadiens if they play their best hockey, all right? Mm-hmm. So you have one entire line out of the lineup, plus you didn't go out and get that second line centerman, and you didn't get that winger. Or maybe that center became Kapanen for now and Bolduc for now, but it's not ideal. So I look at Marty St. Louis right now, and I don't see, and Marty didn't go from a very good coach to a bad coach in 3 weeks, okay? So that's not what I'm saying. But right now, I don't see a coach who has the answers to turn this thing around. I see a coach who's searching, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, is it Marty right now that's trying to find his game along with his team? Or is it because a team that was already lacking depth is lacking even more, and there's not much you can do? Having said that, you know as well as I do, and I'll end it here, that when you don't have the horses, for whatever reason, either you don't have them, you didn't acquire them, or they're hurt, that's when you have to clamp down even more. And when your goalies are struggling, you have to play with 6 goalies on the ice at the same time. Why aren't they doing this?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer, but I would tell you this. Everything that you just put out there as a theory has a lot of credence to it. It does. It really does. My biggest concern is it's easy to coach, and I'm telling you this from experience. The first 20 games I coached in the league, we had the third best record in the NHL. It's easy to coach when your team's winning. I'm telling you that. It's easy to coach because everything takes care of itself, including the players looking after one another. The hardest thing to do in the NHL is to coach your team out of a losing streak. It's the hardest thing because every losing streak you experience, something's always different. It could be bad goaltending. It could be bad special teams. It could be bad leadership. It could be a whack of injuries. It could be so many different things. But that's the hardest thing to do in the NHL is to coach your team out of a losing streak. These guys haven't figured it out yet. Last year, they got on that roll when they went down south in December, and it carried, the enthusiasm just started to breed inside the team, and it was unbelievable. They don't have that right now. They do not have. They're searching for questions. Their answers, excuse me. They're searching for answers.
I'm looking at the messages on YouTube. Pierre McGuire and myself never said that now Marty St. Louis is a problem.
No,
never said that.
Never once said that.
Never once said that.
Never
but
once.
We can question some decisions. We can question some line changes. We can question the management of the goalies. We can question how the power play has looked in the past week and a half. We can question it. The way players have bad games, coaches have bad games too, Pierre, and you worked with the greatest one of all time. I'm sure not every game he coached a great game. I'm sure he coached a couple where he said, oh, wasn't my night tonight.
He would remember all of them, and he'd make sure he didn't repeat the same mistake. Trust me. I'm going to say this because if people are writing that, that's fictitious. And I hope they write what I just said because it's fictitious. We never once said the coach is the problem right now. I said, and I'm very open about it, it's easy to coach a team in a league when you're winning. It's very difficult to get your team out of a losing streak in the National Hockey League. It's very difficult.
Pierre, there are moments when the GM, executive vice, or the president of hockey operations enter a locker room. Some coaches don't like it because obviously they want to control that locker room. Yep. Has this gotten to the point of 5 consecutive losses, of a power play nowhere where it used to be, of no chemistry on the lines, of guys playing without structure, of a team giving up 1,000 goals every game? Is this gotten to the point where there should be an intervention even above Marty St. Louis where someone has to come in and say, hey, and talk to the team?
No.
I
think this is a time now where you get together. I'm really impressed by the chemistry of the 3 major domos in the organization. Obviously, Jeff Gordon, Ken Hughes, and Marty. From all the things I've seen from them, they're very, very tight. They all have the same organizational philosophy. I think it's really good, actually. I think they just sit down and say, okay, where are we good? Where are we bad? How are we going to fix it? What
was the room like, and what was the coach's press conference like? Brian Wilde was there. He joins us now.
Brian Wilde, presented by Fruiterie Delard. Fresh foods and flavors for over 30 years.
Fruiterie Delard, a family-run business, a mainstay in the LaSalle community since 1995, proud to continue offering the same fresh foods and flavors that they have for the past 30 years, from fresh fruits and produce delivered daily to an ever-expanding assortment of deli meats, cheeses, and sandwiches. You'll find personalized service and friendly faces that make you feel like family at Fruiterie Delard. Brian Wilde, what a night. 8-4. 4 points for 40-year-old Alexander Ovechkin, just like fine wine.
I think he's going to make it, that Ovechkin. He may have a good career. I see some things that I like in his play.
I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think you might be right. Wow. That is out on the limb. I'll tell you, I've been listening to you guys, and I love the point that Pierre makes about a coach, the difficulty of trying to get a team out of a losing skid, because sports, when it starts to go like this, it's so much about momentum. And right now, I think that the worst momentum is happening is that at the end of the game, especially, you could see they were trying to do too much, so much more than they should, because in today's NHL, it is so structured. The hockey is so intelligent that if you give up odd man rushes, if you give up the puck in the neutral zone, you break those 2 fundamental tenets, you are done. You're finished. You cannot win hockey games. And then when you add to that these goalies right now, I don't know what's going on, you guys. Like, you get to see it, like, when you're at the game, when the puck goes in the net, very quickly you see the goal scorer who scored the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
A patting on the head, the celebration. I'll focus on the goalie of the Montreal Canadiens because that's my job. And the shoulders are so slumped. The body language is so bad. And the fundamental is so off. Like Montembeault on the one shot, the second one by Frank, he's like not in his net anymore. The Milano shot for Dobish, he's not in his net. Like I joked in Call of the Wild, why are you going to Moose Jaw to make saves? Stay in Montreal. I don't understand fundamentally what is happening. Even on the Frank first goal, if I may, Montembeault is moving. Well, Frank gets the puck in the middle of the ice and he takes his time and he shoots. Like, there is no reason to be moving as a goaltender on that shot. And we all know, again, I go on about this in Call of the Wild if you want to read it. We all know one of the basic fundamentals of performing well in sports is you keep your head still. Like when you try to make a good golf shot, they always say, well, keep your head still. When you try to catch a ball in baseball, keep your head still. Because when you're still, you can perform well. You can catch things. You can know where you are in nets. It's just a fundamental part of sports is a still head. And these guys are moving all over the place on static moments. And I don't understand it at all, how they got to that place fundamentally. But obviously, it has to change. They've had one better than 870 performance since the 3 games before the Utah game, which was their only better than 870 goaltending performance. You do not win at hockey with 870. It means in a regular 30-shot game, you got to score 6 to win.
Yeah, and the expected the stats show, the advanced stats show that Montembeault should have
He's last.
He should have stopped 2 goals tonight. And
overall, he's last in the league.
And that made sense to me. You're right about that. By the way, and I have it here. Like, this is their save percentages in the last 6 starts or whatever it is. Montembeault 700 tonight, 870 versus Boston, 667 when he came in versus Dallas, 926 versus Utah, 905 versus Philly, 824 versus Ottawa, 793 versus Edmonton. Dobesh 840 when he came in tonight, 870 versus Columbus, 615 versus Dallas, 857 versus Jersey, 857 versus Seattle, and 903 versus Vancouver. I mean, it's just not good enough. Brian, who did you have a chance to talk with in the locker room?
I don't know. Have you run any of the clips yet, Tony?
We have not. No,
okay,
we have not.
Great. If you want to run them now or later in the show, it's completely up to you. But Nick Suzuki is one of them.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Let me just stop here if you don't mind. Let's play
absolutely.
the Nick Suzuki clip. So this way we can discuss what he had to say.
Yeah, it's a quick one.
I saw it. I was sitting on the bench, had a pretty good angle at it. Thought he skated pretty hard at him and finished highs. I haven't seen a replay of it, so it's hard for me to say.
And that was the second time he was asked about that, actually. I didn't catch the first time because the scrum was too large, and I come in a little bit later. The first time he did very clearly say he thought it was late and he thought it was high, did Nick, on the Tom Wilson hit. That it looks like they took Jake Evans out of the game as a precautionary measure because he already has concussion history. I really loved the maturity of the organization on those matters. I'm very impressed with them. There seems to be lately a kind of a lax attitude on concussions. The Canadiens are leaders in that area. I'm happy he didn't play in the third period. But Martin St. Louis said the same thing. I thought it was late. I thought it was high. I didn't like it.
Perfect. Was he asked why didn't anyone do anything about it? And if he's not concerned, that there was no response. If he's concerned,
he was not asked that. No.
Marty St. Louis wasn't asked about no one responding to Tom Wilson's hit.
Not in terms of why did somebody not go after Tom Wilson. No, it was the last question in the press conference. It wasn't a very long one. It wasn't a great night. It was one of those ones where it ends pretty quickly, and the PR department is happy about that.
I hear you.
It's just the way it goes. It's a long season. You got to save your coach a little bit too.
I hear you. Do you know how many hits? Why don't we bring up the stats and take a look at how many hits that Jaden Struble and Arbor Jacki had in tonight's hockey game? Let's go to Arbor Jacki, who was a -2, played 13-28. Okay. Jacki had 0 hits in tonight's hockey game. All right.
Yeah, he had a bad game.
Jaden Struble played 12-40. Okay. Jaden Struble had 0 hits in tonight's hockey game.
He had a bad game too. Noah Dobson was outstanding though.
You can have a bad game all you want, but if Jaden Struble and Arbor Jacki aren't going to hit anybody, I mean, what are they like? What flavor do they have?
You're right, sir.
Pierre?
Well, I started the show by saying that I'm shocked by there was no response.
Yep.
And I'm not into the barbarianism part of the game, but I'm telling you right now, the Washington Capitals bullied these guys last year. I heard what all the players were saying before the game tonight. At some point, if you're going to tell me that you're the quote unquote sheriff, be the sheriff. Be the sheriff. There was no sheriff, and there hasn't been for a while. Ask Tanner Jeannot. There's no sheriff. Nobody's afraid of this team. Zero.
Yeah, Pierre, I know that you are not big on the barbarism, but I know that you understand the game of hockey better than anybody. And you understand that as long as intimidation and fighting and physicality is a part of it, you have to win that side of the game too.
Mm-hmm.
And they completely did not respond in that way on that hit or at all. And I thought that it was one of those nights when we spent the entire summer, and even in the post-mortem by Hughes and Gorton, did they actually say, we got out physicaled, we got manhandled, and we need to change that. And so this was their first opportunity against that team to show we're not going to let that happen. And instead, Tom Wilson did exactly the same thing that he did for 5 games last spring.
All right. I'm going to bring up
Not
something.
even dropping it a little bit. We got 2 more clips, by the way.
I'm going to bring up something right now that I'm sure you're not going to hear anywhere, haven't heard anywhere right now, but I'm going to bring it up. You know what tonight almost reminded me of? It almost reminded me of when Jeff Gordon's Rangers got manhandled by the same Washington Capitals. I hope it's not the same kind of team, because that Ranger team didn't go on.
Well, I know they want to be tougher, Tony. I know they want to be tougher, and they want to add toughness to their lineup. They said very early in their tenure as well, you can only have too many small players. And I think they know they've already hit that quota with Hudson and Caulfield. They're not adding any more small players. I think they're disappointed a little bit in the underwhelming performances from some of the guys in Laval, or they would have already gotten the call, because they know they need Florian Jacki. They know they need Tuck. They know they need that footprint of player, but they didn't call that footprint of player up. And that's kind of confusing, because it would be a big wide open window for those guys to add some toughness to the team. So they must not be impressed with them.
Hey, Tony, can I just ask Brian something? Have you seen enough of Joshua Roy to say, you know what, not right now, not ready, not right now?
I don't know what you think on it, so I'll go on a limb, and I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't think he's going to be a regular National Hockey League player, I'm afraid. I thought when he first came up that he could be. He does not have the skating speed to be, because he's going to have to be a first or second liner. Because you and I have the exact same philosophy on a footprint that each line has in the National Hockey League. Yep. And I think even more so that the footprint in the back end is becoming the Paul Maurice quote, which is the famous one, is when he tells his players up 4-1, stop trying to make effing plays. Get the puck deep, forget about your goddamn plays, and hit somebody and punish the D. And by game 7, they'll have nothing left. So I think the footprint is even getting more of that on the back end. And so where on a team is Joshua Roy going to play?
Agreed.
Tom Wilson knocked out Panarin in 2021. Did he not? That's what I was referring to. You think he
knocked
him out?
See, I didn't know that.
I was there. I was at MSG when that happened.
Pierre, I love Jeff Gordon, and many believe, by the way, that he was let go unjustifiably so. But there was a critique that his team was more talented than they were physical, and they were lacking grit, they were lacking some unity, and they were lacking some toughness, and they were lacking some of that Wolfpack mentality. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah, that was all the things that were being said. I lived in the tri-state area when that went down. I want to be totally transparent because I've said it before. The day after Jeff got fired, I had lunch with him at my golf club. And I didn't like the way he was handled by the New York media, and I didn't like the way he was handled by ownership. And I'm going to tell you straight up. And I told him the same thing I'm about to tell you. It's never fair in this league. There was more than just Jeff Gorton involved in this. There was some internal sabotage that went into that firing. It was not him. It wasn't good. I'm just telling you.
All right. Brian, who did you have a chance to speak with other than Nick Suzuki?
We have a Mike Matheson one as well that I'll queue up for you. And I think the thing that's interesting about this is even though tonight there were 4 bananas, they're never going to throw a goalie under the bus.
Well,
hockey is
obviously
but
not.
I'm just saying that you're going to hear it in this clip that sports is always treated, a team sport, as a collective responsibility. So even though I might not agree completely with Mike's assessment here, because I think that they really only got super sloppy when they were trying way too hard to get the deficit back, he talks about how sloppy they were.
Let's hear from Mike Matheson.
Obviously, it's not ideal. I think the biggest issue right now is when we're having breakdowns and making mistakes or giving up chances. They're huge chances. It's hard to do. It's hard to win like that. What were your thoughts?
Pierre, when we're making mistakes and we're giving up chances, they're huge chances.
Yep.
Hard to win like that.
It is. I'll give you an example of what he's talking about. Near the end of the game, Lane Hudson comes down, driving down the left side of the ice. If you're a defenseman and you can't complete a pass, guess what's going to happen? An odd man rush the other way because everybody's going to the net. Lane's been guilty of that a few times this year, and this was another example of it tonight. And it's to Brian's point, which I really concede was really good right off the top. Guys are trying to do too much, and by trying to do too much, they're getting themselves into trouble, and they're exposing everybody. They're exposing themselves, their teammates, and their goalies. It's not good.
Pierre, a couple of weeks ago, we got bad news. We got bad news that Roger Grillo was battling cancer. Do you know, Pierre, if he's still with the team and still working?
Well, I just saw him last week in Montreal, and he was going to dinner at an establishment downtown, and we had a really nice chat. We never once talked about anything like that.
Okay.
And he was really excited about where the team was going and how they were turning it around at that time.
Yeah.
So I never heard one iota of anything, and we met outside this establishment. We talked for about 7 to 10 minutes, and it was really positive.
Because he's, like you said, you talked about it. You thought that he was one of the, the big architects for the turnaround last year in terms of the defensive coverage, the defensive play. Mm-hmm. And we found that out a couple of weeks ago. It's a couple of weeks now that the team obviously is not playing well defensively. And that's why I asked, if he was still with the team or if he took some time off, because if he would take some time off, it would probably explain some things, right? Because,
well, as of last Wednesday and Thursday, he was in Montreal.
Okay. Defensively, tactically, Brian, clearly there's something off. And, one of the quotes that's out there right now is Nick Suzuki saying we haven't lost trust in our goalies as well. But like you just said, Brian, Nick Suzuki's not going to come out and tell you that we lost trust in our goalies. Marty St. Louis last week said that he wasn't concerned and he wasn't panicked. Marty St. Louis is concerned, obviously, right? So you're never going to...
And I mean the point insofar as, obviously they're not going to throw them out off the bus. The first part of this is not the rocket science part of it. The second part of it is the rocket science part of it is that it's always a collective. It's a team sport, and they think always in a collective way. And if they don't, that's when you start to worry. That's when the team is broken down and there are cliques and people pointing at each other. What we have here is a team having difficulty and is trying to figure it out as a unit. And that's okay. That's all right. That's the way it's supposed to be. The coach will tell you in the middle of these boxes.
You know what, Brian and Tony, what I'm worried about is the roles of the players.
Oh, super point.
I don't know if guys are understanding their roles. I'm really not sure they are understanding their roles, and I think they got to get to clearly define roles.
Good.
Because I don't think they have it right now. I really don't. I don't know if you agree, Tony or Brian, but that's what I'm seeing.
I absolutely love that point. And I think part of it is everybody's seat that we always talk about is changing so rapidly. You used to be in the 5-6 seat. Now you're in the 3-4 seat. Now you're like not playing the third and fourth line. Now you're up against the best hockey players in the NHL. And you're like, okay, I don't know my role at this moment. Joshua Waugh comes up and he says, am I a scorer or am I a checker? What do you want from me? The changes have happened so fast with the injuries that's just a brilliant point from Pierre, that nobody knows their role because their seat is changing so rapidly.
Great idea. Yep.
Brian, any final thoughts from the Bell Center tonight? And by the way, I hope you and I can, we'll talk after the show regarding tomorrow. Any final thoughts?
If that means, do you want me to come in? Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Any final?
I think this was, I quite enjoy this. So I don't actually have anything to add beyond what's been said so far. I think, the final point that I would ever reiterate is, as much as it looks like a lot of breakdowns, I feel that those breakdowns are happening from just trying to do too much because the goaltending is suffering so much. And I think, when they were winning games, Dobish was playing way above his station and putting in 940 and 950 and 960 and making everybody look maybe a little bit better than they were. Yeah. And right now everybody's in net making everybody look way worse than they are.
11:30 a.m. practice tomorrow for the Montreal Canadiens. Practice at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. So, Brian, you and I will have a lot to talk about for tomorrow night's
Let's hope Jake Evans is on the ice.
Yeah.
Let's hope Jake Evans is on the ice. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Brian. Thanks,
Bye, Pierre.
Brian. Yep. Thanks, Brian.
All right. I got some quotes from Marty St. Louis, but before we get to that, I want to talk to you, of course, about some of our sponsors who make this possible. Bittt Tibi launched their Ultra Lager, refreshing thirst quenching beer, perfect for cool fall days with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light and ultra refreshing. Who do you have, the Canadiens or the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday night? Well, if the over is 12, I think I would go over. Go all the way with Betway and get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. Snow is here. Winter is here. You need a slush buster. Introducing the slush buster. Go to slushbuster.ca. I'm not talking about a slush puppy because your mouth is dry. I'm talking about a slush buster. It's an innovative snow brush designed to tackle winter's mess with ease. From heavy slush to stubborn ice, the Slush Buster clears it all quickly, keeping your car clean and your hands dry, smarter, stronger, and built for Canadian winters. On one end of it, you can scrape, and on the other end of it, you got the brush, and on the other end of it, there's kind of like 3 sides to it. You have kind of like a golf club type of thing, so you can smash the ice off of your windshield. It's unbelievable. Speaking of winter, still haven't bought your winter tires? Time is running out. If you're in Quebec, you have until December 1st to get your tires installed. The good news is you can pick up GT Radial tires at Point S starting at $89 per tire. Visit point-s.ca to shop for GT Radial tires or to find your nearest Point S location. All right, okay. Let's go to Marty St. Louis. Marty St. Louis said, there's a couple of quotes here. Pierre?
Yes.
When asked whether his team has regressed to the playing level of early last season, he said, tonight there were moments that made me feel like that. And even as it was tough to watch some of these things, I still felt that we can win this game in the third period. Pierre, I have something I want to say about this. I think, look, the games are open. The games are exciting. When the Canadiens were in a rebuild and they were losing most of their games, everyone was happy that the games were open. It was an offensive brand of hockey because the second worst thing after losing a game is losing in a boring game. So they were exciting. Marty St. Louis says, yeah, it was tough to watch, but I still felt we could win the game. Pierre, you don't win Stanley Cups in 8-4 games.
Nope.
You don't win Stanley Cups in 7-5 games. Every now and then you need your offense to explode, but your team has to be able to win a big 2-1 game in a game 7.
Yeah. Tonight, the thing that bothered me the most is everybody was saying how this was a quote-unquote revenge game, or this was something we're going to show them. They're coming in our building. We're going to ambush them because they played last night. Everybody was saying the right things. Nobody delivered. Nobody delivered. That's, to me, I find that to be troublesome.
Marty St. Louis, I think these moments right now give us an opportunity to grow from this, and that's what we intend to do, but we're going to have some moments of truth as to why.
That's what you and I have been talking about for the last 45 minutes with Brian. We've just presented the case for the moments of truth that need to be brought up.
Marty St. Louis.
And one of them is, Tony, you can tell me about this Wolfpack mentality, not you, but people know the Wolfpack mentality, this and that, and we got the sheriff, and we got this guy. Show me. Don't talk about it. Show me.
Marty St. Louis, can our goalies be better? Yes. But we also have to be better in front of them. Marty St. Louis added, I'm very disappointed. What happened tonight, it can't happen again. I wonder what he's referring to, Pierre. Do you think in general, when he says what happened tonight, it can't happen again?
I'm going to talk about all the little breakdowns we started. The lost face-off that leads to the Ovechkin goal. That can't be a clean loss. You got to scramble it. It can't go directly to Ovechkin. That's just part of – I guarantee you they talked about that in the pregame talk. I guarantee you they did. You got to make sure when you know when Tom Wilson's on the ice. I guarantee you they talked about that during the meeting. Guaranteed they talked. Were they aware? I didn't see Tom Wilson get touched once. Did you?
No, he didn't get touched once. But now you talked about the defensive zone faceoff that was lost. All right?
It's Jake Evans, a right-hand shot on the left-hand side of the ice. All he's got to do is take the guy's stick, scramble it. Doesn't mean he's going to win it, but make it a scrambled draw. Get support from the outside, either the winger or the offside defenseman.
So, yeah, but right now you have Nick Suzuki, right-handed shot. Oliver Kapanen, right-handed shot. Jake Evans, right-handed shot. Joe Veleno, left-handed shot.
Yep. That's the only one you got. And you know what they did after Evans lost that draw? They used Joe Veleno on that side of the ice.
But you know what I'm going to bring up? Why wasn't he on that side of the ice to take the face-off to begin with?
I'm just pointing it out. That's all I'm saying.
You know, I understand Jake Evans a better face-off guy than Joe Veleno. I get that too. But
if you're going to be that guy, these are the little things that matter. Like Joe can't turn the puck over that leads to the Sonny Milano goal. He can't turn it over there.
It's disappointing for him that he made that mistake because it was by far his best game up until that point.
Without a doubt. But I'm just saying, so if you want to continue to climb up the ladder, especially with all the injuries, can't do that. Just can't.
Let's get to the lines for the Canadiens tonight. Suzuki with Bolduc and Caulfield. Kapanen with Demidov and Slafkovsky. Evans with Anderson and Roy. Veleno with Gallagher and Davidson. Matheson, Dobson, Struble, Hudson, Jack-Eye, Carrier. Montembeault got the start and goal. He was pulled after giving up 3 goals on 10 shots. Dobish comes in. He gives up 4 goals on 24 shots. The Washington Capitals also add an empty net goal. They win by a score of 8-4. I want to go to the players' individual stats for a second, Pierre.
Okay.
I want you to take a look at Juraj Slafkovsky. And some were saying, yeah, it's great. You know, the National Hockey League is now duos, never mind. So that line, Pierre, has been together, Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slafkovsky for almost 3 years, about 2.5 years, because at one point they had another line mate, whatever. But the last 2 years, full-time. In the last 2 years full-time, they keep on getting better and better, and they led the National Hockey League last year in goals 5v5. I think they led the National Hockey League up until a couple of weeks ago, as well as in expected goals per 60 minutes. Their offensive zone possession time was very, very good compared to a lot of other number one lines in the National Hockey League. but you split it up. You split it up, and a lot of people are saying, Slafkovsky's inconsistent. A lot of people are saying, well, Bolduc deserves a better shot. Now, the National Hockey League is no longer, it's not trios, it's duos. So now you have a duo with Suzuki and Caulfield, and now you can have another duo with Slafkovsky and Demidov, whatever. You, based on what I heard at the beginning of the show, you're not crazy about the fact that they split up the lines. So Juraj Slafkovsky was -3. Last game, Juraj Slafkovsky looked like a guy who was pissed and wanted to show them, you know what? You shouldn't have done that to me because, look, I'm a really good player. Tonight, he looked like the most discouraged guy in the world. What do you do?
Well, like what Marty St. Louis said is this can't happen again. We'll see what he does because you can't put that kind of lineup out there again. No way. Nope, you can't. Because if Toronto comes in here and steamrolls you on Saturday night, you are in a heaping world of poop. You're in deep trouble.
Ivan Demidov got 15 minutes of ice time tonight. There's games where he got 10 minutes, 11 minutes. He got 15 minutes of ice time tonight. I think I saw him once. He did a play. He got tripped up. It was a penalty. Good for him. He went back to the bench. He tapped Bolduc saying, go out there, go on that power play, try and do something. One of the Canadiens' power plays, by the way, didn't have a shot on goal throughout the entire power play. They were able to score later, but not a good game for Demidov either. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on a rookie, obviously, but it puts a lot of pressure on himself. But he's had some tough games in the last couple of weeks.
One of the best things you said before was practice is at 11:30 tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're going to find out how serious the coach is about never having what happened tonight happen again. It'll be really interesting.
I don't want to call it a punishment, but is a bag skate in order tomorrow?
No,
are you expecting a very tough practice tomorrow?
I'm saying they're going to do a lot of fundamental work tomorrow. And if they don't, I'm really concerned about the direction of where they're going. I'm being honest with you. Can't skate them into the ice tomorrow because you're playing Saturday night against a team that is going to be coming in pretty urgent, very urgent.
Pierre, because they made the playoffs last year, a lot of people, myself included, expected them to make the playoffs this year, especially after, once again, I think getting better in the offseason by having Demidov for a full season, acquiring Noah Dobson, and acquiring Zachary Bolduc.
Yes.
There's more parity in this league now than there ever has been. It's 5 straight losses now. They can't stop the bleeding. Should the fan base be very concerned at this point?
I'd be worried. Yep. I'd be worried. I don't know about, everybody's got their own level of worry. You can't go 10 games in this league without getting points. Because if you do, that's 20 points in the standings. How are you going to make that up? You can't make that up. It's almost impossible.
So at the beginning of the show, you said you would call up Jacob Fowler, which is a popular opinion right now. And I said to you, the way they're playing in front of their goalies right now is so dysfunctional. I don't want to do that to the kid. I'm not saying that he'll get burned by it because I think he's stronger than that. But I just think that he should stay in Laval right now. That's my opinion. They got a couple of games versus Belleville tomorrow night and on Saturday afternoon. We're going to be broadcasting both games on the Sick Podcast. Of course, we're the rights holder we're the French digital audio voice of all Laval Rocket home games. And you can listen at thesickpodcast.com and rocketlaval.com. Check it out. Let's say they choose not to bring up Fowler. So hold on a second. When you bring up Fowler, what are you doing? You're sending Dobish down?
Yeah, he doesn't require waivers. Why not?
Okay. Let's say they don't go that avenue.
Then they better do some remedial work in a hurry.
Does that mean going out and looking for a goalie?
I don't think so. Where would you rather spend your asset base? Would you rather spend it on a goalie or would you rather spend it on a second line center?
Goalies don't usually come for huge assets.
Well, in this league right now, if you're looking around the league, there's a lot of competition to get goalies, and there are not that many available. So I think the asking price is going to be higher this year. You don't think the Edmonton Oilers need a goalie?
I hear you.
You know what happened? I'm going to just tell you this. Chicago stole one. I know that Florida won the Stanley Cup again last year.
Spencer Knight.
Getting Spencer Knight out of Florida was pretty substantial because he's got his life back together and he's good. He's really good. I know
There's a lot to digest tonight. Let's get to the scoring. Ovechkin, 1 minute into the hockey game, power play. Slafkovsky was in the box, by the way. Brendan Gallagher, who jumps on a rebound and the puck trickles over the line. It required the referees to go up and take a look at it. And they took a look at a couple of different camera angles, and it went just over the line. Relief for Brendan, who scored his first goal. By the way, they showed this on RDS. Speaking of Brendan Gallagher, the amount of goals that he's had for the Montreal Canadiens. Let's see if we can bring it up. Do we have the chart? Look at that. Most goals in Montreal Canadiens history. Brendan Gallagher has just moved ahead of Bob Gainey for 15 all-time. He is 3 goals behind Mats Naslund.
That's an amazing career. That's an unbelievable career for Brendan Gallagher. Phenomenal.
He's going to pass Mats Naslund. Isn't that cool? All right, okay, back to the scoring.
Cool. Really cool.
Back to the scoring we go. Oh, by the way, speaking of Ovechkin, NHL.com, I think, or their stats department put this out there. Alex Ovechkin notched his 13th career opening minute goal, tied Mark Messier for second most in NHL history behind Sidney Crosby, who has 15 of them in the first minute of a hockey game. That's another pretty cool stat to have. All right, next. Ethan Frank, power play goal assisted by Dylan Strome and Alex Ovechkin, and then Ethan Frank scores again. 2 goals in a span of 1 minute and 38 seconds. Pierre, before we even talk about the goals, you cannot let a guy who's got 2 first names score on you twice in 1 minute 38.
He's an undrafted player that was born in Nebraska that went to Western Michigan. He had a big, huge last year at Western Michigan. He scored 26 goals in 1 year. I watched him play a lot his last year. He's won 2 Calder Cups in Hershey. He's not very tall. He's skating. He can really skate. He's thick, and he can absolutely crank a puck in traffic. And you got a little taste of that tonight.
Mind you, it's 2 shots that I think we could agree that Samuel Montembeault would like to have back, Pierre.
Oh, the second one. The second one, Tony. Oh, my goodness gracious. I can't believe that puck went in. I like, what are you doing?
And look, we've said a lot about Marty St. Louis and the goalie management thus far. He didn't waste any time. Like, I think tonight, it was kind of like Marty making a little bit of a statement where he said, I've protected you up until this point, but it's enough here. And I know he protected them again in the press conference because he usually does that. But for him to pull Montembeault right away without any hesitation, like you can tell, the coach has had enough. He's had enough of not getting goaltending. He's had enough of not getting goaltending.
I agree.
Joe Veleno, who got robbed right before that, Pierre, gets a pass from Mike Matheson. He goes upstairs. That was a heck of a wrist shot, Pierre.
Yeah,
that was
a
a big
great
goal,
goal by Joe. I'm really happy for him on that play.
Okay, the Chychrun goal.
That's ripped. It's ripped, but nonetheless, where's the coverage?
Well,
that's off the Wilson. Off the Wilson.
That's off the Wilson hit on Jake Evans. Yeah.
I know it's off the Wilson, but you got to. How many times are they going to let other teams' defensemen just tee it high and let it fly? We see it almost every game.
Suzuki shot goes. Carrier shot goes right to Nick Suzuki's stick. He puts it home. He gets the Canadiens back in the game, and then Milano, Pierre. That's the Joe Veleno turnover right there, and he's off to the races. But he goes wide and then cuts inside. Dobish lost his net on that one too.
Did he ever? He was swimming.
On to third period we go. In the third, Mike Matheson. I thought Lane Hudson was doing what he could offensively speaking, but once again he had to force the issue on a couple of occasions. But you have Matheson who scores a goal. Hudson. It's Matheson who scores a big goal and a wrister. Ovechkin, Pierre, gets his second of the game. And then Ovechkin ends up getting his third in an empty net. And then Milano makes it 8-4 when once again he goes far corner on Dobish, who once again seemed to have lost his net, Pierre. He gave a lot of corner there.
You know what's amazing when you look at those stats tonight? 4 goals of the 8 for the Washington Capitals came from their fourth line. Frank had 2, Sonny Milano had 2. 4 of their 8 goals came from their fourth line.
That's unacceptable.
That just doesn't even compute, man.
It's just unacceptable.
That can't happen.
I'm looking for the hockey stat card. I would imagine it's out by now. And let's take a look at where your Montreal Canadiens were. Ethan Frank, oh my God, his stats tonight were like off the charts. Off the charts. Okay. Game score breakdown. Oh, okay. Looks like the hockey stat card has actually changed the way they do things here. Let me just see that. Why don't we bring up a couple of questions in the meantime before we can bring this up? Shane and Master Control, if we can bring up a couple of questions. On YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Got big numbers tonight if you want to ask a question. Oh, here we have it. Oh, isn't that amazing? All right, okay. Brendan Gallagher. A good night for him. 2.89. Let me just see. No. Here we go. Brendan Gallagher, 0.82 is his score. Joe Valeno, 0.77. Oh, they changed the way they do the hockey stat cards now. All right, okay. Who's it a bad night for? In terms of special teams, play driving, it was a more difficult night for Slafkovsky. We see it was a more difficult night for Demidov. On defense, it was a difficult night for Noah Dobson tonight.
See, that's where I have a hard time with the stat card. You know, Brian reported on it too. He thought Dobson was phenomenal in the game. I thought Dobson was a little better than what they're giving him here on the stat card.
Unless I'm reading it wrong, but I don't think I am.
No, you're not. You're not reading it wrong.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Practice tomorrow at 11:30. Like we talked about, the Toronto Maple Leafs coming to town, Pierre.
Yeah, and they'll be a little upset. They lost in overtime tonight to the Columbus Blue Jackets on home ice, but at least for them anyways, they're putting points in the bank. And they're going to come in. They might have some reinforcements too. There might be some new guys in the lineup getting healthier, which is good for them. But I think now the word's out. Get after Montreal physically. Don't be nice to them. Pile drive them. And their bigger guys are going to have to stand and deliver. They got to stop accepting this stuff. They're getting pushed around, Tony.
You said a couple of weeks ago when they brought up Joshua Roy, you said you would have brought up Florian Jacquet.
I did. 100% said that.
And I think they could have used Florian Jacquet tonight. Much more than...
Yeah. I'll just tell you, could have been in the room when we've called kids up from the American League or from back in the day, the old International League. And you don't tell them to fight. They know what they have to do. But you wind them up so that they understand physically nobody's pushing your team around. And you wind them up to get them there. And more times than not, guys will react to that in a positive way, not a negative. And it has nothing to do with fighting or being dirty. It's just you establish a physical presence against their best players because they're going to do that to our guys. And more times than not, if you do it properly, you can get some results.
When you talked about sending a message, though, so they didn't a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't call up Florian Jacquet. Would you do it now?
Oh, yeah, I'd make some significant. You know, the coach said it best. That can't happen again. I'd make sure it's not happening again. I'd bring in different guys.
Scouts in attendance tonight at the Bell Center. For those who want to know, Anaheim had 1, Buffalo had 1, Chicago had 1, Minnesota had 1, the Rangers had 1, Philadelphia had 1, St. Louis had 1, Winnipeg had 1, and the Nashville Predators had 2.
I'll bet you more scouts were at the Toronto game versus Columbus than were at the Montreal game tonight versus Washington.
Because they believe that Toronto is probably going to be more proactive than Montreal?
Yep. And it's a doubleheader. They could double dip. They were in Buffalo last night to watch Buffalo play. So it's a double dip. It's easy to do.
Pierre McGuire, thank you so much. Tonight was a lot of fun, Pierre, and you and I will do it again next week.
Can't wait. Thanks a lot, Tony. Have a
Thank
great
you,
night,
Pierre.
everybody.
Very much appreciated. All right, okay. I want to talk to you about a fundraiser that's going to take place tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, if we can bring it up. Do we have the flyer? We don't have the flyer right now. If we can get the flyer. There we have it. All right. Accent with Rad, Barks and Bubbly fundraiser, and cocktails tomorrow night at the Atwater Club. And basically, this fundraiser is to raise funds for dogs rescued from shelters, helping the dogs. And it's a great fundraiser. Anyone who has a fundraiser to take care of dogs that are in help and in need is a fundraiser that I love. Go to the Instagram page of Accent My Event, and you get all the ticket information there at www.zeffy.com/en-ca for tickets. Once again, it's going to be a great night. Tickets are $100. Tax receipt is available. There's going to be open bar. There's going to be great music. There's going to be delicious food. It's a great event. I went to the event last year, and tomorrow night's going to be another amazing event. One of my best friends in the whole wide world, Elena Kratsios, is one of the key people behind this event. And Elena hosts great events and does awesome stuff anytime Accent My Event and Accent Events is involved. So once again, you can get your tickets by going to Accent My Event on Instagram, and the link is there for you. Want to thank all of our sponsors. Fruiterie Dillard brought you Brian Wilde, Restaurant Vago Italien on Green Avenue. On Green Avenue, yes, corner of the Maisonneuve, brought you Pierre McGuire. I want to thank very much Point S and point-s.ca, GT Radial. I want to thank the Slush Buster, which is the snow brush of choice for our winters. Betway for being a major sponsor, not only for the English podcast, but also the French one. La Bittt Tibi, Playground, and Energy Transportation Group as well. I want to thank all of you for watching, all of you for listening. Why don't we do this? I don't feel like going to bed. I don't think I could sleep tonight. I was about to log. I'm not going to bed. I'm not. I'm staying. How many goals were scored in this hockey game? 12 total? Give me 12 questions. Whoever's at Master Control, don't get mad. We're going to go to bed later. I only work 8 jobs anyway. Evil says, do the Habs have an extra forward yet? Nobody fears for their spot in the lineup. No, nobody fears for their spot in the lineup. And Davidson and Joshua Roy played under 10 minutes in tonight's hockey game. Next. Tony Marinaro, hire Torts as an associate coach. Why not? I wouldn't do that. No thanks. Question number 3. I don't think Torts' last couple of coaching stints have gone well. And I understand you're saying an assistant coach, but that's just not him. If Evans is out, who replaces him at center? Beck, Florian Condata, or do the Montreal Canadiens claim Alexander Tessier off waivers? I think they're going to call Beck. Florian Jacquet, by the way, has played left wing on a line with Laurent Dauphin and Alex Belzile. I think they're going to call Beck, but you heard Pierre McGuire. He would call Florian Jacquet. Next. He also said he would call up Jacob Fowler, by the way. Is a coaching change an option at this point for the Montreal Canadiens? We're in the next step of our rebuild. We need structure and experience. No. Marty St. Louis done, for the most part, a great job, and I wouldn't get rid of Marty St. Louis based on 2 terrible weeks. Next. In which, by the way, he's got 4 injuries, and he was already a second-line centerman down and maybe even a winger. So he's kind of like short 6 players, and Marty St. Louis can't stop pucks for the goalies either, folks. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have his share of responsibility, because you win as a team and you lose as a team, and it's up to him to find the answers. But his team's a little decimated right now. But I do believe that they have to play with much better structure. It's wide open. It's not even funny. Dominic, you think the Habs can survive so many injuries? Not enough depth, in my opinion. They better stop the bleeding. I thought they were going to stop the bleeding tonight. I thought an older Washington Capitals team was going to come in here, and if the Canadiens were going to get a lead early, and the Canadiens could avoid giving up a goal on the first shot, then the Canadiens would take it to Washington. What happens? They didn't take a lead. They gave up a goal on the first shot. The rest is history. Next. I stopped counting the number of questions, by the way. Was it a mistake to include Emil Heineman in the Dobson trade? No one talked about that when it was done. I think everyone was happy with the trade when it was done. And now Heineman scoring in Los Angeles, everyone's saying, was it a mistake? Guys, he played on the fourth line for the Canadiens last year. Let's be honest here. Now, in hindsight, was he a fourth line player? Probably not. But when they gave him an opportunity to move up in the lineup, he didn't make the most of it either. You know. Next. Rick, who's your starting goalie Saturday? I say Dobish. I think Pierre would say Fowler. Next. Kevin, could you explain how Fowler could help and could it be a problem for his development? Also, could we see a goalie change? We have two different opinions. Pierre wants to see Fowler right away. I love Jacob Fowler. I've already gone on record as saying is if this team's going to win a Stanley Cup going forward, Jacob Fowler is going to be the goalie that's going to do it. I'm the president of the Jacob Fowler fan club, maybe the vice president because Pierre McGuire is the president. The way they're playing right now, I wouldn't wish this on anyone to be in net right now. No one. You imagine you bring up Jacob Fowler and they hang him out to dry? Now, maybe the team is nervous because they realize the goalies are nervous, and if the next goalie comes up and he's not nervous, maybe they won't be. I leave Jacob Fowler in Laval right now, but you know what? If the Canadiens call him up, I support the decision. But I'd leave him in Laval. I think that's the right decision. Next. Do you think Marty St. Louis just doesn't like the rough stuff, so coaches to deter Arbor? I think Marty St. Louis wants to have his team play a certain way. And I think the way Arbor wants to play is not the way Marty wants to play. Next. Do you think Carrier was playing scared today? I don't think he was playing scared. But I think he expected much better from his teammates. And while he was watching that happen, he probably must have said, oh my God, we haven't grown after all. Next. Do we go and trade for Gyro from St. Louis? St. Louis is struggling too, as so is Gyro. So I don't know. Mind you, let's be honest. If you want to go out and acquire a player who's doing really well, you have to pay a big price to pay. Does Jordan Gyro fix the Canadiens' problems, though? He's an upgrade for sure. He's an upgrade. I think the Canadiens really need to add Tom Wilson-like players. And those are very, very hard to find. I think those are the players the Canadiens need to add. I think they need to add a centerman. And I think they need to add sandpaper that is not only big, not only strong, not only heavy, but nasty and can play. Those are the players they have to identify. That's the kind of players they need on this team. That's it for me. Special thanks to all of you for watching. I appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching the Sick Podcasts. Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern in English, and Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. en français. We talk all Montreal sports, a lot of which is the Montreal Canadiens, only we do it with different collaborators who have different takes. You're going to enjoy it. And by the way, got an interview tomorrow. Jacob Fowler. An interview with Jacob Fowler. You can hear it and you can see it tomorrow morning, sometime between 10 and noon. I don't know when it's going to be yet, but I know you're going to hear it and I know you're going to see it. So watch the Sick Podcast tomorrow en français. It's the same YouTube channel. Thanks again. Have a good night. Canadiens lose by a score of 8-4. Make it 5 straight losses.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.